guys, welcome back. It's just gonna be one of those videos, okay? So I'm kind of in a bit of a frustrated, ranty, like, kind of mood. So I feel like right now is the perfect time to just tell you guys the story about our car. Oh, I seriously am just in such a kind of mood. You know when you feel like you just have to have a massive rant and then you'll be fine? That's me right now. That's 100% me. So I figured while I'm in such a ranty, frustrated mood, I will tell you guys the story about our car. Because I feel like the thing about our car, the story's not that bad, but like whenever I tell it to someone or think about it, then I kind of have to like remember what happened instead of kind of just trying to like move past it and like suppress and forget. So strap yourself in, guys, because I feel like this video, I guess, might go for a while. I've literally packed snacks. I've got my popcorn and I've got a drink bottle. So I don't know what you guys want, but like BYO snacks, stay tuned. You're gonna be in for the long haul. I want to stay positive, okay? So like life is good, everything's fine, but sometimes things happen and I think it's good to just let it all out, talk about it. I don't even really know where to start. Like even just thinking about it, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna dive straight into it. This is what happened to our loved van, Black Betty. Black Betty, rest in peace. We miss you more than you could ever imagine. Okay, so in January, as you guys know, Cal and I went back to Australia for his best friend's wedding. And where we live on the mountains is about a 3 to 4 hour drive from the airport. So we were flying out on the Tuesday. It was Monday morning and we figured we'd drive to Calgary and then stay over the night and then catch the flight the next day. I'm pretty sure we had an early morning flight. I don't know, probably. I guess that's why we did it. Also because I'm like planning crazy and I have such bad public transport or like any transport anxiety that I seriously like, so let's say the bus is leaving at 4:30. It's a 5-minute walk from my house. As soon as it hits like 3:30, 3:45, I'm like, all right, like better start getting ready. Like don't want to be late. Like I can see, like this is like the staff bus, for instance. I can see it when it comes and it's like right down the bottom in the driveway, and I know that it only takes me like a couple of minutes to walk there, but I'm still freaking out like 45 minutes in advance. Like that's me with public transport. I'm just like, I am that anxious, annoying like mum who's like, oh guys, you better not miss the bus. I don't even know what voice that was. I'm seriously, I'm talking really fast as well, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna try and slow down. So it was the Monday morning and we were driving to Calgary and I had like a nail appointment booked for the afternoon. We left super early. It was like 9 a.m. We were driving. We were like, we are crushing it. I'm gonna get there. We can get some lunch. I'm gonna go to my appointment and then we'll just have like an early night at the hotel. Tomorrow we'll leave our car parked here. We'll catch the free shuttle to the airport and then like, bitch, we're on vacation. You feel me? Like we're going on vacation, everything's gonna be lit. Like everything was not lit. That day that we were driving to Calgary, it was like -30. So it was only like -20 on the mountain where we were. But as we were driving, we were like, man, it is getting so cold outside. And we knew the forecast in Calgary was like -30. I still left the house in my Converse and activewear pants. I didn't, you know, like pack a toque or mittens or thermals or any of that stuff you kind of like need for the cold. I was like, we're going to Australia. We don't need any of that stuff. We're just going to be sitting in the car like the whole time until we get to Calgary. So as we were driving, we were like, okay, it's getting really cold. And the heat gauge on our engine thing, I really don't know anything about cars, but basically it was like running super hot. It wasn't like it just went like dun dun, like cold hot. It like gradually started creeping up. So Cal looked at me and he was like, hey, the engine's like running kind of hot. And I was like, oh well, like we're already in the car driving there. Like literally, what do we do? I don't know. At that point when we were driving, it was like -30 outside and the heat had gone fully to high. We were probably about an hour and a half into our journey, and then all of a sudden the car starts making this like bum 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 bum. I don't know. Does that even sound like a car? I don't know. Basically our car was just like, then stopped. So that's fun. That's like totally what you want when it's like -30 outside. So Cal managed to kind of like pull over to the side of the road, and we basically just looked at each other and were like, what do we do? Our car breaks down and we turn the engine off. Well, the engine turned itself off, didn't it? But we turn the car completely off and we see like a lot of smoke kind of like coming out the front of our car, and we're just like, this is not good. I also forgot to add that for this drive, like from where the mountain is here until you get to Banff, which is like 200 kilometers or something like that, there's no cell service. Like none. Not a single bar of cell service. So we're going. The car starts running hot. The car turns itself off. And we're stranded on the side of the road in -30 with no cell service. Happy vacation. So we pull over, Cal like pops the hood of the car. We just let it kind of like cool down. Some guy pulled over at one point and kind of like gave us a lowdown of basically what had happened. I don't really know what happened because I was just like, you could tell me anything and I'd believe it right now. I know nothing about cars. But the guy basically said like, wait 30 minutes and then you should be able to kind of like hobble yourself like in the car until we at least get cell service. I think it was like 30 kilometers until there was reception. So we were kind of like, we just need to get somewhere with a phone so that we can like call a towing company or like call our insurance or like, you know, anyone. So that guy left, we were timing it, like waiting for the car to cool down. And keep in mind that it's -30. Like it is freezing cold outside. And I'm also in Converse and active leggings, so you know, really warm clothes. So we're like sitting in the car trying to stay warm, trying to stay positive as well, because I think it's really important when something's going wrong, rather than to just freak out and kind of just go like, like what do we do? I don't know what's going on. I think it's important to just keep it cool, work together, focus on your strengths, and try and come up with some sort of plan. That's always going to be the best thing to do at the end of the day, because even if you freak out, you're still going to be on the side of the road. It's still going to be -30. You're still not going to have a car. I'm taking a popcorn break because like, oh, there's the staff shuttle I was talking about. After we'd waited 30 minutes, Cal was like, okay, I'm going to try and turn the car back on and see what happens. So he puts the keys in, turns the ignition, and the car did not go. It kind of made this really ridiculous sound that I'm not gonna try and do again. It just made this awful sound and we were like, okay. Like, okay, Betty, we get it. You're done. You've had your time. You've shined. But now you're done. So we're sitting there, barbecue sauce on our titties. We sit there and we have our hazard lights on and we're basically just kind of like, we're pretty much just hoping for the best. Basically, we just needed anybody to like pull over. So luckily, this really super friendly couple pulled over. There were a couple, I think they were in their 60s, and they were driving from another place like further past our mountain into Banff, which is the town that has like the cell service. So they pulled over and were like, you know, what's happened? And we like told them what had happened. And basically they offered to drive us to Banff and drop us off at a tow company so that we could get our car towed to Banff. Or basically they just wanted to kind of like get us off the side of the road, you know? So we had like a suitcase each that we were taking back to Australia, but then I also had one of those small kind of like carry-on suitcases that had stuff in it for the night that we were staying in Calgary. So I grabbed that and Cal grabbed his like backpack. And then we got in their car and they drove us to Banff. Oh my gosh, Carolyn, if you're out there, if you're watching this, I love you so much. Thank you. thank you for saving our lives and saving us off the side of the road. So they drove us to Banff. While we were in the car, when we got self-service, we called a towing company and asked if it would be possible for them to go and get our car off the highway and take it to like a mechanic. They said they were able to do that, and Carolyn, again, thank you, she dropped us off at the towing company in Banff. So we walk into this towing company and honestly, okay, I know nothing about cars. I know nothing about towing. I'm not afraid to admit that. Like, if I don't know something, I'm not someone to be like, oh yeah, I figured. Like, I'm straight up like, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how that works. Like, I'm straight up in here, in this towing company, like, can you tow my car? Seems like something your business would do. So we walk in and oh my God, the guy literally had one of those like Bluetooth speakers. He literally is just like walking around the office. We couldn't tell half the time if he was talking to us or if he was talking to the person on the phone. I would ask a question about like how they were going to handle the situation, and then the guy would start answering and Cal would be like, okay, yeah, sick, whatever. And then he would just start talking to this guy like on the phone again, like whoever he's on the phone to, he would just be like, yeah. And Cal's like, are you talking to me? Like, hi. I seriously never felt so uncomfortable in my life, like being in this towing company, just kind of like standing there, not really knowing what to do. We just knew we had to get our car off the side of the road and to a mechanic. And the towing guy was just kind of like, I swear he was mad at us for them having to tow our car. I'm like, yo, isn't this what your business is all about? Like, shouldn't you kind of want me to break down? Like, you're gonna get hundreds of dollars off me for a situation, like. Anyway, so they organized for our car to be towed from wherever it was, like on the side of the road, back to the mechanic. And the mechanic was literally just around the corner from the towing company. Once we knew they were going to tow our car, after we got through the freaking like triangle conversation between like Cal, him, and his like Bluetooth friend, he left the towing company and went and sat in the mechanics and basically told the mechanics the situation, like, hey, we were driving, our car broke down, pretty sure the engine is like completely done, these guys are towing it, can they bring it here? Can you fix it? The worst part about this, guys, the mechanic's like, yeah, for sure, like we can totally, you know, look into it and see what we can do. But then we also had to ask them, okay, like after you're finished looking at it, can you hold on to it for like 2.5 weeks, because we're on our way to the airport and we're going to Australia. Luckily the mechanic was pretty nice. They were like, yeah, we can do that. So we waited in the mechanics for them to tow our car. It took a long time. We got to the mechanics around like 11 or 12 and the towing company didn't tow our car. Like, they didn't leave Banff to go get our car until 5 p.m. And that's fine, like things take time and they have other cars they have to do first, but it was a long 5 hours of just sitting there literally being like, I wonder what's gonna happen. And also we had to figure out a way that we were gonna get to Calgary to get to the airport, because even though we weren't flying that day, we had accommodation booked in Calgary for that night. Seriously felt like it was just a full 5 hours of me not trying to have a panic attack, like playing Breathe In by Ariana Grande on repeat, like. So while we were waiting for them to tow our car, we figured we'd book a hire car. There was no other way we were gonna get from Banff to Calgary. We looked up buses, but the buses were basically gonna cost the same amount. So we were like, that's fine, we'll book a hire car, we'll pick it up in Banff, we'll drop it off at Calgary airport. As long as we can just get on this flight, like we'll figure out the rest later. Like if we have to get a hire car when we get back to Calgary and drive to Banff to pick up our car, whatever, like that's chill, like we'll figure it out. Like let's just get to Australia really. So we ordered that hire car and then we got a taxi from the mechanics to the place in Banff, like the hire car company. We picked up the hire car, but we couldn't drive there and then from the car rental company to Calgary where we were staying, because we left all of our luggage on the side of the road in our car on Highway 93. So we had to wait for the towing company to tow our car to the mechanics so we could take our luggage out of the car, put it in the hire car, and then go. It was just really frustrating because the mechanic was like, yeah, no worries, they'll tow it here, you guys are good to go. And we were like, yeah, but we can't go. So yeah, we went back to the mechanics. I think the car ended up getting towed and to the mechanics around like 6:30. And then we literally just grabbed our luggage out of the car and chucked it in the hire car. And we were like, let's just go, let's just go, let's just drive to Calgary. Like, I can't do this anymore. So yeah, then we got in our car, drove to Calgary, got to the hotel, and like, we were able to keep the car overnight so we could drive to the hotel, park, stay at the hotel, and then drive to the airport the next day and drop the car off. It was all good. Like, we got the car, we were like, like, this will be so funny to look back and laugh at. Like, it could have been worse. You know, what if no one had have come and picked us off the side of the road? We would have been stuck there in -30. Like, it could have been so much worse, and we were so lucky. But oh my gosh, when things like that are happening, you seriously are just like, in hindsight, like looking back, I kind of wish I vlogged it, but when things like that are happening, sometimes you're just like, I actually have to deal with the situation. I can't just be like. So we're in Australia, having a good time. We're like seeing everyone, catching up. We went to the wedding. The weather's really good. And one morning we wake up to this email from the mechanic company, and it's like, yeah, your engine's done. Something about compression, like none of it being left or something. I don't really understand. Like, leave a comment below if you know what any of this means. Basically, the compression was done, so the engine was done. It was done. It was pretty much gonna cost more money to like get a new engine and fix the car than what the car was actually worth. That's always like a super fun thing to like wake up to and read first thing in the morning. You're just like on vacation, having a good time, and then you just get an email being like, no, sweetie, everything's not fine. Your car's done. Another popcorn break, honestly. So we had a pretty long email chain of us messaging them being like, are you sure? And then them messaging us being like, these are your options. And basically in the end, we had to contact a wrecker company to like pick up our car and then take it to the wreckers. But again, there's stuff in our car because we thought it was going to be fixed, right? So we left our like parks pass. We had just a bunch of other camping stuff like a stove and some tarps. Like, there was just stuff in the car, so we couldn't get them to tow it like that day that they told us. They were like, okay, like we're gonna have to come back. We're gonna have to somehow get to the mechanics, take all our stuff out of the car, and then like they can come pick it up, whatever. And the guy at the mechanics was like, yeah, okay, no worries. I'm still gonna charge you $20 a day for parking. And we were like, why? Oh, actually, I forgot. He was just a really mean person. Like, he definitely was the kind of person who would not write kind regards. Like, he'd just write regards or just his name or something, you know? Like, he wouldn't be like, hey, he'd just be like, no. I'm pretty sure at one point he called the engine toast, which like, same. He was like, yeah, I'll have to still charge you $20 a day for parking. And we were like, can't you just put it back on the side of the road? Because where we parked our car, like out front of the mechanics, it was free parking. Like, it was just this road and anyone was allowed to park there and it was free. The car was like, okay, like thanks for working on it, and like we'll pay you for the time you spent trying to like fix it, but I'm not paying $20 a day for you to hold our car when you could just put it back on the side of the road. And the guy never replied, so like fun. The mechanic just left us on red. He didn't reply. So we were like, are we paying for this like parking or not? Who knows? Like, guess we'll find out when we get home. Oh, another loss. So yeah, we just had to spend the rest of the trip kind of being like, all right, we don't have a car anymore. Sweet. I feel like it could have been a lot worse, because we were going to sell our car at the end of the season anyway, because we were planning on moving back to the city. And when you're living in a city, like, you don't really need a car. We were kind of like, oh, we were going to sell it anyway. It just kind of sucks that instead of selling it and making our money back off the car, we've kind of just lucked out on like 2.5 or 3 grand. But we got such good use out of the car. We drove, I think it was over 20,000 Ks around the States over 2.5 months. We slept in the car in that time. We drove it to Vancouver, we drove it to Whistler, and then back to the mountains. So we definitely got our use out of the car. So we tried to stay positive and thought if we had have flown and booked accommodation in the States, like, we wouldn't have seen what we did. We would have spent so much more money. So we basically got our money's worth out of the car. It's just a little bit that we can't make any money back, but oh well. And then we had to figure out what we were gonna do, because originally our plan was after we went to Australia, we'd come back to the mountains, and working here, you get a lot of complimentary tickets to other mountains that this mountain has like affiliation and association with. So we were like, okay, after we go to Australia, on our days off, let's go traveling around, let's go to other resorts, let's snowboard there. And yeah, that's kind of like, you know, hard to do without a car. Yeah, so when we found out that our car was toast, as the mechanic called it, we were kind of like, oh, okay, like our plan for the next, you know, 2 to 3 months till the end of the season is kind of, you know, not feasible. And because we were going to sell the car, there's like no point buying a new car, you know? So when we flew back to Calgary, we got another hire car and drove to Banff, back to where the mechanics were. And luckily, 2 of our best friends from the mountain were able to drive from the mountain to Banff to pick us up, because you can't take a rental car to the mountain because there's just like, there's nothing here. There's no rental car company. So we were lucky like that. But we got to the car. It was on the side of the road, so didn't have to pay for parking. It's really the little things with this story. And yeah, we were lucky enough that the wrecker company was able to tow our car on the day. So we were like, okay, we'll be at the car by 12. We'll be able to get our stuff out. Are you able to kind of pick the car up then? And they said yes, and they were able to do that. So we got to the car, took all of our stuff out, our friends picked us up, and then we drove back to the mountain. Honestly, at that point, I was just happy that we got home, that we were safe. Car's a car, really. At the end of the day, like, we had our health and nothing else matters. I think the hardest part is that we're obviously on a working holiday and we're on minimum wage. So when everything happens, having to kind of hand over all that money. So like all the money for the tow trucks, the hire cars, the taxi, the like mechanic, just everything like that, when you have to just pick up that sum of money and just give it to another company, or like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to get your money and give it away. It's just stressful because it takes so long to make that kind of money over here. And I know that's why when you get paid, you always make sure you have some savings for when things happen, but it's still rough. But luckily we were able to claim a lot of it back on travel insurance, and that is why, my friends, you always have travel insurance. If there's one thing to get if you're moving overseas, travel insurance, 100%, hands down. And I'm gonna put a link below to, why do I always do this? I'm gonna put a link below to our travel insurance website, because they were super helpful, like super friendly, and we were able to claim a lot of the stuff back, which I feel like sometimes you can be with a company and they just kind of like don't want to help you out at all, and these guys really saved our lives. But yeah, basically that's the story. That's why we don't have a car anymore. If you want to take anything from this story, 1, if you're driving and it's cold weather, always be prepared. Always pack mittens or a toque, blankets, thermals, anything. Like, always be prepared, because you never know what might happen. Like, you might end up stranded on the side of the road and it's -30 and you're like in activewear and Converse. You have travel insurance because you never know what might happen. And number 3, stay positive, honestly. When this whole situation happened, Cal and I tried really hard to like work together and stay positive and just think of a plan. And I was really proud of how we did. Like, when we got to the Calgary hotel and we got some food and we just were like laying in bed, we were reflecting on what happened, and we were able to laugh about it and be like, hey, we made it here and everything's fine. And yeah, there was a bump in the road and it didn't exactly go as planned. -30 is one hell of a bump. But these things make us stronger, and I think when anything like rough happens in life, you just have to go, in a day or in a month or in a year, I'm gonna look back at this and laugh, and it'll be a story to tell. Honestly, the having a story to tell attitude gets me through anything while traveling. Anything happens and I'm like, oh well, it'll be a funny story. But yes, that is the story of what happened with our car and why we don't have a car anymore. Rest in peace, Black Betty. We love you. We thank you for your time. Everything happens for a reason, guys, and luckily we're still able to go and visit some of the other mountains. The friends that picked us up from Banff, we're going with them to Whitewater Resort this weekend, and then next weekend we're going to Big White with some of our other friends. and they were the two mountains that we kind of really wanted to go see. So everything will work out. That's the thing with life. Just stay positive and everything will work out. Anytime anything happens, I think I'm just gonna sit down and tell you guys now. It felt so good to get that story out. Like, I'm in such a better mood now. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Anyway, thank you guys. If you've made it this far, leave me a comment and let me know that you managed to stick through this. And if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!